Ranim, it's great to be live. It's great to see you in person.
Thank you for having me and thank you for coming and visiting us.
Yeah, you know, since I came here, the first thing that blows my mind is the amount of construction. I mean, I was here a year ago. I saw a couple of buildings, and now I went to the exact same place. Those buildings are done, new buildings are coming up. So it's just too much happening.
Yes, I agree. No, I fully agree. I think if you think about it, Dubai is probably the most dynamic city when it comes to real estate today. The reality is that even in terms of transaction, it surpasses any city around the world. You think about it, we have around 13 to 14,000 transactions a month in a city of 3 million people. And that is crazy.
I actually saw a number yesterday that in the past year, they sold about $100 billion worth of property. Is that accurate?
Yes, pretty much so.
That's insane.
That is crazy. And you think how much money goes into construction, how much money goes into commission. Like real estate is the third biggest contributor to GDP in the UAE, in Dubai today.
You know, I joke around with my friends since I got here. I was like, you know what, guys, maybe I should just sell nails. Like, let me sell anything.
100%. No, construction is a good business to be in. Real estate is a good business to be in Dubai. And it's a very active, dynamic market today. But also, if you want to think about it, yeah, selling nails, selling anything in construction is a good place to be, but it's also becoming more and more difficult. On a yearly basis, I think there are 60,000 units that was supposed to be delivered this year. 30% of them are delayed because of competition on construction material to get there, but also mainly contractors. Because there's not enough manpower to build whatever is planned to be built today. So there is significant not to say that contractors are always on time, but there are significant delays because of all of that competition. This year is the highest number of units to be delivered in the history of Dubai.
This is crazy. And you know what I mean? Like, when I see those before-after pictures of the landscape and the skyline, two thoughts. First, wow, amazing, this is great. But the second thought is it over? Like, is it too late for newcomers? I mean, you're in prop tech. I mean, you see all those new buildings, but new investors, if they look at Dubai right now, is it too late for them?
We need to be very realistic in what's happening today. I think in the past 2-3 years, the growth and the increase in prices have been insane. Like we have seen, I think last year it was around 11% average increase in prices. You see, of course, the area where it goes 30% and areas where it's like 2-3%. Is it done? Are the prices, is it a bubble as they claim it is, or some people claim it is? I don't think so. Why is that the case? It's all driven by macroeconomics, if you want to think about it. What makes a real estate market a good versus a bad real estate market? It's a demand and supply balance. Now, if you look at what are the drivers behind it, population growth. I'm sure you've experienced the traffic. I think the amount of, and of course it's not organic, there's a lot of people that are moving into the country. I think year on year we're growing, if I'm not mistaken, and this is of course top of my mind, but I remember on average the first quarter we had 160,000 people move into a city of 3 million. So like if you think about it, you're growing by like 500,000 more or less a year. And that is an insane amount of people that are moving in. That requires place to live in. And even if they tell you it's transitional, people come in and leave, but when they come in, they need a place to stay, which means that investors are they're gonna buy these apartments and allow them to rent it. You see GDP is growing significantly. You see tourism is growing significantly. And the truth, whether it's sad for some and good for others, is that Dubai is such a safe haven in regards to everything. Economically speaking, it's being a safe haven. Politically speaking, it's been a safe haven. I think a lot of people flood into the country regardless of what is happening around the world. And then we have seen it happen when the war in Russia and Ukraine started, and both Russians and Ukrainians moved to Dubai. Right now, we're seeing a lot of people coming in to Dubai from places where taxes are being increased, like the UK. We've seen a flood of people coming in from the UK with the new things. From the US, we're seeing investors coming in as well. So be it that in that very special And I think the leadership here is very smart to position it that way. Is definitely attractive for money to keep coming in.
You know what? For the sake of the conversation, let's just add Canada to the list as well.
I know. I didn't want to say it, but yeah, a lot of people
saw
are coming
your eyes,
in from Canada.
I think, you know what? You added US. You're like, no, just say it. Because everywhere I go there, when I tell them I'm going to Dubai, they're like, oh, Dubai, I can't wait. It looks amazing. And it's real. I mean, it lives up to the name. I've been going around.
Yeah, I want to ask you about how has it been this time?
I think it's insane. Like, I'll tell you what happened. I went to JBR, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way this is Dubai. Like, I felt like, I don't know, California vibes, maybe south of France. So much going on, people just living. Then I go to Creek. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I want to live here. And then I go back to downtown. I'm like, you know what? This is amazing. I want to live here. So it's just, there's so many amazing things.
And I think it's going to keep getting better and better because let's say I moved here 13 years ago and I remember I used to laugh about it. Downtown used to be like 2 or 3 actual buildings there. I used to work at the IFC and I used to laugh at my friends who live in downtown and be like, what's there in downtown for you to live? And in literally in 13 years, like downtown is like, downtown is so mainstream now because it's you know, it's so established and people have moved out of it to other places and new communities has come in. But also my point is, I think probably Dubai is at the beginning of the growth. And more people are hearing about it that were not hearing about it 10, 13 years ago. And I'm seeing more and more people who come here for a visit and be like, maybe we should just move here, you know. It's also super easy to live in, which is also super attractive, very convenient. It probably spoiled me for any other country around the world.
Yeah, it's very difficult to move away from the comfort of this place. But, you know, let me ask you something more specific. So walking around, everywhere I go, you have these booths. These property sellers, they're all over the place. Developers. So I'm drinking a coffee. I get attacked by 3 people. They're like, come here. Let me show you a great investment opportunity, a great property. And I feel like this is the old way, but it's a very comforting way to actually talk to someone.
A human being?
To actually talk to a human, to talk to a human being. But in most of the industries that transformed with digital transformation, realize that you can actually do the same things without so much human intervention and people just adapt. And so as a company who is a data-driven company in real estate, can you just talk to me a bit about how people can now rely on information and data and less of a beautiful smile of a developer or a salesperson who comes to you?
That is actually the exact problem that we tried to solve at the beginning, because it is very human, and construction real estate is one of the oldest industries in the world, but it also hasn't been disrupted in a very long time because it is one of the biggest decisions that people make in their lives in terms of investment, in terms of money that they put in. So they always rely on the comfort of a human being. However, this is flawed. Human beings are flawed, but this is the way you're doing it is flawed because technically everyone has their own incentive. Like when you're talking to a salesperson, that person gets paid by commission. So his job is to push whatever inventory they have or whatever they're trying to sell. Does this mean that the buyer is getting the best solution or investment out there? Most likely than not, it's no. The reality is also, globally, $620 billion is being spent for the buyer to see not what they need to see, but what the seller wants him to see, be it developer, be it seller. This goes on commission.
Oh, what does that mean? It
basically means that how the system works today, the network works today, is you as a buyer, you're not seeing what is best for you, but you're seeing what is best for the seller, because at the end of the day, it's the seller that is paying the money.
Right.
With the $620 billion is going on, that's a massive industry, and only commissions, if you think about it. So is talking to humans the best way of doing about it? No, because they're probably just going to push you towards what they have. They're going to give you some information, but is it holistic? Is it everything you need to know? Probably not. So what we're trying to move towards is more of making the buyer more informed. So right now what we're building is a system. So currently what we have is giving you the opportunities based on your financial needs. But eventually we need to move to a place where things are autonomous, where you're able to ask any question to a machine, warm up, get all of the information you need without the intervention of a human being. Do I believe that in the next 2-3 years, you will not rely on agents? I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, it's still a massive investment that you're doing. But do you need to get all of that information or everything that you need from that agent? I also don't think that is the case. I think there needs to be a one place, unbiased, where you can get everything you need to get, and allows you to make a certain level of decision that is as much as rational as possible, and that for that small emotional sleeve at the end, maybe speaking to a human being could work.
But you know, Ranim, that's kind of what people do now, because when they talk to different companies and different salespeople, they're trying to find similarities in what they're saying. They're like, this is what this person told me, this is what that person told me. I understand they have their incentives. So people are looking for this source of truth. So that's why they
takes
talk
usually
about
300 hours. On average, it takes someone 300 hours of research in order to get to that. Is that the right way of doing it?
Is that a fact?
Yeah, it's a fact.
Okay.
It's a fact.
Okay.
300 hours on average of research for someone to feel, research and talking to people and exploring, etc., for them to get the comfort to close a deal. 300 hours is a full-time job, if you think about it.
You know what? If I'm sitting with you and I'm fully convinced, right? Like I have a data background. I know you can trust the data. I know it's the best source. Having a source of truth that is not manipulated for anyone's incentive is the best. But you can't sit down and have one-on-one 30 minutes with 1 million people, right? So how do you shift this culture? Do you think it's going to happen naturally, or do people just trust the system?
I want to ask you a question.
Tell me.
How did you used to search back in the days with Google?
Keyword search.
You would ask, and then you would scroll, and then you would press on
Basically.
different links, and then you would read, and then you would get the research. Do you feel that this has switched a little bit with ChatGPT and Gemini?
I feel like I don't use
Search
keyword
anymore.
search anymore at
So
all.
when you ask a question and you get the Gemini answer, how often do you scroll past the Gemini answer?
I don't.
So that is the reality. I think there is a shift overall, in not just in the industry, and how we look into things in general. I think the search system is no longer about scrolling, is no longer about talking to 1,000 people. It's about result-based rather than search-based as it used to be before. So even we see it now in shopping, where also people are moving away from it's more about, I want this specific whatever shoe in this color, blah, blah, blah. And then you can start seeing it immediately versus going on Amazon and typing, or on Farfetch, no longer exists, or on Unas or whatever, and getting there. And I think this is a good first step in doing it in something as big as real estate. So I think instead of going and talking to these 100 people, if there is an LLM, but that is my issue that I have with people using Gen AI. You cannot go on ChatGPT or Gemini and ask about something as specific as real estate, because how ChatGPT or Gemini works is based on searches on the internet. So if I ask ChatGPT the same question 3 times about real estate, it gets the sources from 4 or 5 different sources, then every time is a different answer. So there's no depth in it. There is more or less what the news says, and then they regurgitate it back. The issue with the news is that if you open Khalij Times, and I was laughing about it, because in the past 6 months in Khalij Times, the number of articles that contradict each other about the rental market in Dubai is hilarious, because one day is like the rental market is not doing well, prices are dropping. Then the next day, literally last week, they're like rentals are going to increase by 6% in 2026. So that's why when you want to talk to an LLM or an agent or an AI agent, you need that AI agent to be based on a very good infrastructure of data and information. And that infrastructure is one that is solid and is one that is consistent and able to give you the right answer versus just a typical machine, like a typical Gen AI conversation.
You touched on many topics. Let me just... No, it's fine. But let me start with the first one. I think you're right with the organic shift on people, on human behavior. We saw this with the self-checkout, for example. I thought like there was no way, my
People are just
parents.
gonna walk out.
No, my parents would use self checkout. I feel like they would want someone to actually help them out, but now it feels weird to have someone grab something and do it for you because it's so obvious. And also the fact for people just taking their groceries and running away, but people don't. I mean, it's especially Dubai. Dubai is a terrible example because no one does anything wrong here. So I do believe that there's this shift in human behavior that happens organically, but the issue with real estate is the value, the amount that you're putting in, and like you said, like sometimes it's your life savings. So
I'm going to be controversial there a little bit. You know how many brokers are in Dubai today?
I feel like there's a lot.
There are 30,000 brokers today in Dubai.
Just in Dubai.
Just in Dubai. Do we believe we need 30,000? I think there is a lot of inefficiencies in the system because those 30,000 brokers are not, or the very, very good brokers are spending a lot of time in warming up clients, in giving you the data and doing the research on your behalf, on building these presentations, in giving it to you. I think a very good broker should not be doing all of these things. I don't think we need 30,000 brokers that sell on average half a property a month.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, more or less. If you think about it. I think you still need the brokers. I'm not saying, because it's a very, very big property, at least in the next 5 years, I don't see that we're not going to have brokers. However, I think we're going to need very, very good brokers who can close 7 properties a month. Because the client is already convinced, they already have the data, they already have the information, they already know what they want. And then that person will be able to kind of tie the bow at the end of just wrap it up beautifully.
When we talk about those brokers and salespeople in general, I just always feel like it's kind of a dance. Like first they trying to impress you. They always look good, right? They always look good. They always look fancy.
100%.
And then they start making you laugh. They all have an amazing laugh. That's something I realized. Every single person, they have the best laugh and they're great. And then slowly and surely they start feeling you out. Like, what kind of money does this person have? What kind of investment can they actually make? And so that's why I believe in having a source of truth. I mean, I think that's what, what's it called? Grokopedia or whatever it was called, what Elon was trying to do, because he thought that since all LLMs are coming from basically data that's out there. Yeah. So if you manipulate data that's there, then the LLM is just going to regurgitate whatever it's finding. So I think you're right. And what about the rest of the UAE? Like, does it have the same energy as Dubai? I didn't have the opportunity this time, but is it the same everywhere?
I think we're seeing it. So in terms of real estate, I think, of course, every emirate has its own strategy. Abu Dhabi is becoming more and more active when it comes to real estate. I think we're seeing a lot of FDIs also moving into Abu Dhabi, and I think we're starting to see a lot of development. I think also with the data centers that are coming in the strategy about building one of the biggest data centers in the world.
This is crazy, by the way. This is crazy.
Because there's a lot of talent coming in there, which means that a lot of people are going to move there. And it's also a rippling effect. No, there's a ripple effect that comes to it.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say about that, like sometimes when you read the news, you feel like Dubai is just doing things like just to be on the news, like the biggest tower, the biggest this. But there's always this long-term vision. And someone who's investing in data centers is not someone who wants the shiny next object. Yeah. It's someone who understands where the world is going to be the next 10 years.
Yeah. And there's a lot of money coming into it, and there's a lot of investment. I think Elon was here a couple of months back, and then they're setting up these things. He has big projects coming up in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi as well. And Dubai likes the shiny things, and I think it's been because they were working on tourism, and tourism needs shiny things. I think Abu Dhabi's strategy is a little bit more grounded in terms of what they want to build, in terms of industry, in terms of manufacturing, in terms of they have a very solid AI strategy that is coming up. I think Ras Al Khaimah, if you think about it, they have the casinos that are coming, and then they built around that casino. They did that's coming up. It's not really there yet, but their real estate went up a little bit. It kind of slowed down now, in anticipation of the casino coming. Where have we seen a lot?
You think these are like strategic moves by the UAE? So let's put something shiny there to energize it a bit there, or is every emirate really working on its own and trying to figure out?
I have no insights beyond what I read and see about it, but I do think they're strategic. I really think that there is a little bit of every emirate should have a role, and then they don't. And I think it's very smart in trying as much as possible not to cannibalize each other, but rather work together on that. And I think now and hopefully. It's not just going to be at the UAE level, but it's going to be at the GCC level. For example, there's this new visa, that was the GCC visa that is similar to the Schengen, that was announced, and I think will take effect in 2026. I think there is the rail that's going to connect a lot of the GCC countries. So
the visa was for residents, right?
No. So for tourism, similar to
really?
So similar to the Schengen is that you can get a GCC visa for tourism, and instead of coming and just visiting Dubai or the UAE, you come visit Dubai, Saudi, Qatar, Kuwait, etc., and then you can leave. So hopefully the GCC countries will keep working together towards a bigger goal, because also so I know there's the Etihad rail that is currently being built that is at the moment connecting all of the Emirates. So it starts in Abu Dhabi and goes all the way to Fujairah. And I think they did the first passenger. And now I think they're starting, I think the plan was in 2027 to have it from Abu Dhabi to Dubai. But the plan for the Etihad rail is to get plugged into different rails from different countries in the GCC so that we can also travel around by train.
Ranim, the last time we spoke, you said that there was so much transparency from the UAE so that you're able to do what you do.
Yeah.
So they give you a lot of the numbers.
Yes.
So that way you're able to get this
yes.
source of truth directly from the government. There's no one in the middle. But do you think you can apply what you're doing for other regions as well? I mean, this idea of stop relying on brokers and just go straight to the facts and figure things out yourself.
So we're trying to do that. I think in different countries around the world, there are different level of transparency. I think we see the similar transparency in Australia, for example.
Really?
Yes, they have, in real estate in specific, they have a lot of data. In the US, it's more of MLS, so it's more private sector than where you get the data than public sector. But here in the region, if we're thinking about it, I think, of course, the UAE is leading in terms of that. We started working with Saudi and the Saudi government and trying to understand how we can get the data, especially that's something else that is happening in the region. Saudi has announced that at the beginning of 2026, which is basically now, they are allowing for foreign investment into real estate, which has never happened before. So even though it's not going to be like overnight, just like Dubai, but it's more like building up towards you and I being able to buy in Saudi Arabia. But think about Riyadh right now, because it's a massive imbalance of supply and demand. Like rental yields are 10-12%. So it is an exciting opportunity for investment. So once this becomes more accessible to people, there should be a little more investment to go there. But there's no one who speaks the language, and I'm talking investment language, but I'm also talking about current brokers there in Saudi Arabia have, like, everyone is a broker, because basically it's Saudis selling to Saudis, and it's like your cousin who broker a deal with his neighbor about a plot of land that you know. So now they're building the system to allow for foreigners to come and invest. And for you to allow that, you need to be able to show the transparency. So now we're working towards getting that data, integrating it and showing it. Is it at the stage of Dubai? No, it's also very difficult to get to the stage of Dubai because of the level of transparency. But they're releasing more and more information. They are digitizing it because it was always not digital and sitting with the Ministry of Justice. So now they set up companies like the real estate registry, etc., to allow people to start consuming it. So I think There's a very cool study by JLL. Actually, it's an index that shows the correlation between transparency and the amount of money that gets invested into real estate. And I've never seen a cooler, because it's so it's kind of very linear. You can see that the more transparent the market is, the more investment goes into real estate. And I think at the level of governments, people are understanding that and pushing the transparency part a little bit more.
So did you look at how different markets operate? Because you mentioned Australia, which is like something I did not expect from you at all.
Yeah.
So did you look around in Europe and
Yes.
The
Yeah, we
North
tried to
America?
understand different data because we're looking into becoming global. So and creating these bridges between different countries. And because we are lucky to be in a part of the world where 90% of people here are expats, which means that also 90% of people kind of look to invest elsewhere, not just here. So we wanted to understand these bridges. So we understood, we tried to look at different countries where you have, like we looked into Spain and Portugal, where you can get that sort of data. France, you can get that sort of data. The UK, you can get that sort of data. It's really, I don't know whether it's an opportunistic market at the moment to build in the UK, but with the tax system, I would just be a bit cautious at the moment, just until they make it clear as to what's happening there. So there are some countries where this data is available. Is it too? We then just need to understand to how deep, because here you can get it very very detailed. In other countries, some countries you can just get a high level. In other countries you can just go into, like here, into project, into unit level data, etc.
So Ranim, I think you're in like a great industry. I think you're using technology like it should be used. So
Hopefully.
so what keeps you up? Like what are your main concerns? Because you sound like, I don't know you that well, but you sound like someone who's always has something on her mind or always working on something. So what's in your head right now?
I'm definitely very passionate about what I'm doing, but we also find ourselves in a very exciting time. I think the one thing that keeps me up at night, if you want, is how fast technology is moving, and how if you're not running along with it, you can become obsolete like this. No, we've seen companies rise and fall very easily because, a bigger giant or someone else does the exact same thing and just captures a lot of the market, or because, you're not moving fast enough for the market. And that's what keeps me up at night. Like if you look at, I read a study that says that every 7 months, the speed of training AI is doubling. And that's insane. So if you don't keep pushing and just running just as fast, which means that this requires time, this requires effort, this requires money. And this requires people, this requires talent. And this is something that while the UAE is doing a lot together, we still don't have the talent that Silicon Valley has. We're definitely trying to attract that, and we're definitely becoming more and more exciting and more attractive for people to move here. But you just need to make sure that you have enough money, you have good people, and you have enough time and willingness to just keep pushing and staying, a par at least with what's going on out there.
Ranim, it was really a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for giving me this platform to speak.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do this again.
Hopefully again soon once you move here with everyone who's coming in from Canada.
Maybe I will.